I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Here we go. It's another edition of the Daily Puck Drop. I think this is like episode 604 of the Daily Puck Drop. I believe if my math serves me correctly. Welcome in. It's Monday, April 28th. How is everybody doing? Welcome in. We got Jim Moore, the go-to guy, is with us today. And then we've got Michael-Shawn Dugar coming up bottom of the hour. We'll get to you full. Well, Jim and I are going to break down the draft like no one else can break down the draft, and then we'll bring Dugar on, and we'll maybe listen to Dugar to see what he has to say. We'll talk Seahawks draft, Mariners offense, retired numbers gate. If anyone saw the Bill Belichick Sunday morning interview, it was all-timer, an absolute all-timer. Daily Puck Drop, we go live every day at 10 a.m. on all of the fantastic platforms, YouTube, Twitter. We also are on the Puck Sports mobile app. Yes, you can listen to this train wreck of a show live on your phone and in your car. Just download the Puck Sports mobile app, iOS store for you Apple users, for you heathens out there that have an Android phone that screw up every group text message. Yes, we have the app for you as well, Google Play. Now, for those who like to watch and listen later, we got you covered. YouTube, when you're there on the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe. All of it. Leave a comment. Try to get to as many as we possibly can. Also, on all your favorite podcast platforms. We are on Apple. We are on Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music. Doesn't matter which podcast platform you prefer. We've got you all covered. And, of course, we put everything up at pucksports.com, including a link to where you can sign up to be a Puck's Posse member, in which you get all of our live content, plus bonus material like our coverage with our MLB insider and furniture salesman, Ryan Divish, every single week. And our new podcast, The Sports Pit, with Steve Sandmeyer and Matt Stretch Johnson. Next episode coming out later today. All right, we're broadcasting from the Limback Lumber Studios. Contractors, they got everything for you. Free deliveries, whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects, largest stock moldings in the Northwest. Old school service because they've been doing it since 1930. Give Limback Lumber a call, 206-782-3487, or visit them online at limbacklumber.com. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, from Bend, Oregon, our Mel Kiper of the Pacific Northwest. It is Jim Moore, the go-to guy, who is brought to you by
a Clean Street, Puck, right out of Oak Harbor. Professional window and exterior cleaning service, proudly serving Island and Skagit counties for more than 10 years. Brian Turner and his capable crew, they'll do everything. They'll clean your roof, they'll unclog your gutters, they'll pressure wash your driveway or patio, and they'll even wash your windows too. And get this, okay, so I'm waiting for Brian to call me to tell me someone took me up on this offer. Hasn't happened yet, but I know it's going to happen this week. Between now and the end of May, I'll give you $50. I'll Venmo it to you. I'll PayPal it to you. I'll Zelle it to you. However I can get it to you, I'll get it to you. Just mention the Puck Sports Podcast when you call, and I'll give you $50, okay? So for a free estimate, call 360-395-5748 or visit cleanstreet.com.
You personally are going to give the money. This is not Brian giving the money.
Yeah, personally. I'm personally going to do it. But you got to hurry. I mean, this is a limited time offer because, well, partly because I'm about to blow all the money that I won on the Masters tourney. And then I'm still waiting to hear if I have to pay for the golf cart. I don't know how much I'm going to have left. But right now in Venmo, Puck, I've got $6,110.
Let's blow it all. Have you bought all the I thought you were buying the TVs.
Costco last night. We got the LG OLED Evo 77-inch, top of the line, $2,100. I thought, fuck it, I'm just gonna go nuts.
Yes, you did.
Crazy. I'm gonna go crazy. And then we got a cheaper one for the outdoor TV, a 70-inch to mount to the pergola. We're going to get the outdoor furniture. We're just going to hang out. We're going to have, I mean, that's what retired people do, right? And isn't it okay? I mean, like, part of me last night was thinking, God, I should probably save some money for Mikey and Stevie's senior year at Washington State. And then I thought, oh, God, I'm just going to spoil myself for a change. What the hell, man? I won that money. I'm going to blow it.
As you should. It's your money. You won it. Those sons of bitches didn't win it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So that's what I was thinking. So I didn't feel bad about it. Yeah, we're going to get the TVs mounted I think on Wednesday, and be all good to go in the Cougar room. I'll show you the Cougar room once I get it all decked out.
Can't wait. I'm telling you, you're going to love the outdoor setup. I spent all day out there yesterday. There's nothing better. Nothing better than have a TV outside, your furniture, taking a nap, sun's beaming in a little bit. That's the best. Oh, you're going to love it. Spend more. Got to get a fire pit. Got to get a fire pit out there.
Gonna have a fire pit too. I don't know. I mean, we've got one of those clay pot things out there. You know, the clay looking ones.
I understand that, but you got to get like what I have. I'll send you a picture. It's kind of like, it looks like a coffee table, but it's a fire pit. You need that right in front of you. You can eat on it. It's perfect. A nice little flame coming up. Get some space heaters out there too, because it's gonna get chilly. You're gonna spend some time out there in the winter too. In the fall, It's gonna get cold at night.
All right. I'll take your advice on that. But yeah, I'm fired up about it. But yeah, give a clean streak a call though, because Brian Turner's been really great to me, and I hope you'll be great to him too.
Oh, Brian's a great guy. I don't know where to start here. I mean, we got a Seahawks draft recap. We got a Mariners offense that is just rolling. A team that's in first place. It's unbelievable. I went there Saturday night, which is a game, and that's the best part, because I'm going to my value spot for beers. I miss everything in the first inning. All of the runs.
You missed it all?
I missed all of the runs they scored in the first innings. I'm sitting there in that stupid line, getting that value beer, which everybody knows about that value beer now, and I don't like it. It was our little dirty little secret.
Is that the $5 beers?
Yeah, $5 beers behind. But you know what? F it. Everybody knows now it's by the Hall of Fame spot behind home plate.
So you're not going to mention it anymore?
No, I just did. It. Everybody knows about it, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Okay, where does what's happening with the Mariners offense rank in unbelievable sports development in Seattle history?
Right up there, man. Right up there.
Sports radio, we overblow and overhype things, but I was thinking about it. I thought, I mean, who thought that Luis Rivas was going to be any good? Or
Leo Rivas. Yeah.
I mean, all these guys, and I still don't think it's sustainable, but I don't want to come on right now and go, I mean, you look at the numbers, it's insane. I don't get it. It shouldn't be happening. They should still suck, and they don't. It's amazing.
In Major League Baseball right now, kids, they have scored the 7th most runs. They are 3rd in home runs. They are 4th in on-base percentage. They are 5th in OPS, 3rd in stolen bases. They still are striking out 6th most, but it's down from a year ago. They are 2nd only behind the Yankees in the WRC plus category. They are the 4th best team in team overall WAR. Their team average, this is their slash line at home. Remember, they can't hit at home. 368, 404, 773, and over 1,000 OPS there at home. 533 with runners in scoring position, and on base with runners in scoring position, 556, and slugging. Or excuse me, you know what? Hold on, I'm reading. Let me back up. I was reading Polanco's numbers. That's Polanco at home, not the team. That's Polanco, but that's even more incredible. That's Polanco at home. I'm sorry. Polanco at home is a 386, 404, 773, and over 1,000 OPS. With runners in scoring position, Polanco's 533 batting average right now. That's Polanco at home. I didn't have it for the home, but yeah, and think about it. Julio hasn't even really gotten going yet.
No,
it's.
Yeah, no, I can't. I don't understand what's going on. I guess you just sit back and enjoy it. But apparently, the batter's eye isn't an issue anymore. Marine layer not an issue. I don't know where this is coming from. Who gets the credit? Maybe it's Edgar. Maybe it's Dan. Maybe it's who knows? Or what's the other guy? Kevin Seitzer.
Yeah.
Maybe it has something to do with that. But I really don't know if you're a Mariners fan. If anyone out there understands what's happening, but. Okay, how can they go from Puck, that first homestand, they scored 15 runs in the entire 6-game homestand, and the game you went to, they had 14 runs in one night.
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I think right now you have one particular player that is on just an absolute tear. Now, he's not going to keep this up all season long, but what's the drop going to be? I don't know, but he's going to drop off eventually. He's not going to hit 377 for the rest of the season. Think about this right now. He doesn't qualify for any of this stuff yet because of plate appearances, because when he was gone. But in theory, he does. Second best batting average in baseball, this Polanco, 377 behind Aaron Judge. Okay? He's got the best slugging percentage in baseball at 739. And the second best OPS behind Judge. And he has played in, I think, 8 less games than everyone else. I mean,
Puck, come on. I mean, guys like you and me who are in this business, we should be saying more than I don't know when things happen. Like, we should at least try and bullshit our way through this. But we really don't. Does anybody? I mean, and the other thing, we owe someone an apology about Polanco at this point, don't we? Because, I mean, you and I were just thinking, God, what a shitty offseason move by him. They didn't even pick up his option, and then they gave him $7 million. He's coming off a knee surgery, and now his side is hurting.
Yeah, but we're not the only ones, though. There's going to be a lot of revisionist history of people coming out of the closet with this one. Oh, you guys said this and said that. Everyone had a collective eye roll when they brought him back. I will always repeat this again. He's not going to keep this up, but again, I don't know what the drop off is going to be from 377 to 300. Okay.
Well, no, you take 250.
Sure. But you know who else didn't believe in him? The Mariners. They didn't pick up his option. They let him test the waters. They didn't believe in him. The only reason they brought him back is because they had no other options. They were out of options. They were out of anyone to sign, and he was cheap. And they knew that's the funniest thing about this whole Polanco story is. Because the organization is so cheap. That's why they brought him back, and he's rewarded them with this unbelievable start to this season, and the guy that you thought you were going to get when you traded for him. And so I think a lot of kudos, I mean, all of it goes to him. I mean, he had to listen to all of it. He probably didn't hear any of it, but even for his standard, for the way that he was, like the way he expected himself, he knows that he didn't play up to standard a year ago. And I think for him to spend all off season, the surgeries on the knee, but how, disappointing he was last year. I mean, good for him, man. It's a hell of a turn.
How is he doing it with that side hurting too? And still, good for him is right. I mean, great for him. It's
great.
Yeah, out of the most unbelievable things that are happened, that probably tops the list is that Jorge Polanco is doing what he's doing. It's just, it's crazy. And I absolutely hate giving Jerry Dipoto credit. I do. I just don't like the man personally. But don't you have to give him credit? I mean, look at what's going on there. I don't know how else to put it. And then what the owners have to be sitting there going, Stanton and all his buddies just like, yeah, well, we really didn't need to do anything. And Dipoto's probably going, yeah, you guys made fun of me saying that we had no holes to fill. Well, look at us now. And up and down that lineup, for the longest time, I looked at 6, 7, 8, 9 in that lineup going, oh, God, that's not even Tacoma Rainier's good. And yet, look at him now. Look at JP and what he's doing. You and I, if we're being honest with each other, and we always are, we thought JP was done, didn't we? I mean, we got to start thinking about, the shortstop prospects in the organization, and that, boy, JP is just kind of limping to the finish line here. And he's not only tearing it up in the batter's box, but that play that he made Saturday night defensively, he's looking good out there. So what the hell do I know about the game and the Mariners specifically? That, the answer to that is nothing.
Hey, you know what we can say though, and I'll give full credit to one of our audience members in the chat, Jeff. Jeff's always here. Yeah, it's still early.
It's still early. Yeah. I mean, we always say that when they're under 500, but now that they're over 500,
we can still say it's early. It can
it could get worse still.
You and I have watched a lot of Mariner baseball. You more than I. I do. There is always part of me that expects them to still be shitty.
Well, yeah, but you can't say that on a day like today. Though.
I know, but I'd be lying to you and the audience if it wasn't in the back of my mind that I'm like, well, still could be shitty.
The negative part of me, which is, I don't know, 95% of me. I mean, how are they going to continue to do this, especially with Kirby out and now Logan Gilbert, who knows when he's going to come back. And then, okay, look at yesterday. You would have thought Miami would maybe win that game. That kid, you know what he did against the Reds in his last outing? He struck out 14 batters in that game and gave up no runs. And then yesterday, the Mariners just kind of hit him around like he wasn't very good. And then you get Logan Evans out there, kind of a Trent Thornton lookalike, a little taller version, though, and a much better version with the glasses and everything. And then he comes up for his first game in the major leagues, pitches well, outduels Miami's developing ace. That was impressive stuff yesterday.
Well, they've done that. You know, the encouraging thing I would say, at least about the offense, is they've done that now 3 different times. People don't. The kid last night is not a household name. I mean, more of a household name for like baseball geeks, but he was having a terrific season, coming off a terrific start. So they did that to him. They did that to Crochet, and then they did that to Scooble. So, I mean, they've done it to 3 excellent pitchers. But, yeah, it's
it's also a team that can look like horseshit against a 5th starter.
Yeah, it's they're not – the stats and the longevity of the sport's going to tell you that can they keep playing this way? The odds would say no. I don't know how far – they're going to drop off at some point. But I don't know how far they're going to drop off. But I look at Ben Williamson for a second. This kid, first, I mean, I'm the president of the fan club.
God, you love him, don't you?
Well, one, because the third base is my favorite position. And he plays it flawlessly. Flawlessly. He's so major league ready at that position. It's laughable how good he is. It just is he is so good with the glove. He's so good with his feet and his positioning, and how he's always in the right spot, and he makes the difficult plays look easy. He's got a cannon of an arm. I mean, it's a line drive rope from third. There's no lollipop throwing in that kid. And I just love his attitude. And the one knock on him was that he wasn't a good hitter. Well, not that he wasn't a good hitter, that he lacked power. Mm-hmm. But he has come up and he's hit all over the place. Now, eventually, when you get more data on him and the book's out on him, I think, you'll start to see, the second go around of pitchers, pitching him differently, and he's going to go through his struggles like every rookie does. But so I do think they're going to fall back a little bit. But I would just say this. I think we talked about this a few weeks ago. I'm just going to enjoy the flip and ride right now because it's enjoyable. It's just fun to watch. And they're winning a bunch of games in their first place.
Well, what's cool too is, they're 12-4 their last 16. They had a great road trip. They came home, took 2 or 3 from a Miami team that we always go, oh, Miami, the Marlins, they're no good. But I mean, they were right around 500 when they got to town, so they're not that bad. And you're right about Williamson. You look at him though, and you always think about third base as a position where you need a power guy who hits home runs, RBIs, and delivers, the OPS and all the stuff you're looking for. But also he's a run saver over there. I mean, compare what you would have had with Polanco over there to Ben Williamson. Well, he's going to save you runs all season long over there. So if you can get the power production elsewhere and maybe take a little more of an average with Williamson, understanding that you're going to get the positives from his defense. Yeah, why not? Just leave him over there every game.
Yeah, he's been great. He's been phenomenal over there, playing at third base. But yeah, the story has just been Jorge Polanco and what he's been able to do so far in this season. Well, more on the Mariners. They're just on a roll. I will say one negative, because it wouldn't be us talking about the Mariners if we couldn't do something. Just one negative piece. I will say on Friday, before I get to the negative, packed house on Saturday night. It was a great crowd. There Saturday to watch them play. No more Trent Thornton. Get rid of him. No more Thornton. No more. He has got to go bye-bye. I can't, Jim, my heart can't take and stress level can't take him coming in to high leverage situations anymore. Cannot happen. I don't know what Dan Wilson, I don't know if Dan Wilson is related to him, but no more. The guy's given up 5 home runs in like 9 innings.
Yeah, see, I don't know about all the other metrics, but I still follow ERA. You see what his ERA is now?
It's like 7.7, right?
7.71. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he probably needs to go to Tacoma or get DFA'd. I felt bad for Saucedo. What was it, Saturday, mopping up that 14-0 game and then just getting sent to Tacoma. Local kid Puck. You hate seeing that, but it's rough, man. I mean, and then Casey Lawrence, he just shows up and then he gets DFA'd and then he shows up again.
Part of the life, man. Part of the life of being a Mariners reliever. All right, what'd you think though? We talked a lot of baseball here in the first 15, 20 minutes. We got Dugar's coming on bottom of the hour. What'd we think of the NFL draft? And I'm going to tell you something. Maybe you have already noticed this, and this is going to be your big headline for me. But I'm going to tell you why I think you love this draft class for the Seahawks. Can I tell you why? Do you know why you love this class?
Okay, so you're going to guess why I love this class.
Yeah, you love it, right?
I do love it, just like anybody else.
I'm going to tell you why you're going to love it.
You want me to tell you what I love the most about it? Because then this isn't getting mentioned enough, and I think it should be.
Listen, if you're going to say the same thing I'm about to say, this is why you and I are like twins. Let's say it. Hold on. Say what you're going to say on the count. When I reach 1, 3, 2, 1, say what you want to say. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. Transfer portal.
Damian Martinez.
Oh. So, yes, this fits in. Look at all their draft picks. Only 3 of them ever went into the transfer portal. And
I didn't know that.
And 2 of them, you can say, not really in the portal. Oh, I don't know why the balloons are going off here in the video. When you look at Horton, the wide receiver at Colorado State, he transferred once because Jay Norvell went from Nevada to Colorado State. Okay, that happens all the time. Martinez, yes, transferred once. He went to Oregon State to Miami. The other kid, the white kid from UNLV, that one's kind of a little murky. He committed to Mark D'Antonio at Michigan State, but then he left before he even got there. And Mel Tucker, remember Mel Tucker?
You love Mel Tucker.
Remember Masturbating Mel? So Masturbating Mel took over. This kid had this great season his first year. Something happens in his second year where he gets disciplined by him, suspended. He ends up suing the school, by the way. And I don't know what ever happened to that, but he leaves after that, goes to UNLV, and all he did there at UNLV, Ricky White, who was their 7th-round draft pick, Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Year, 2-time captain. He was a Mountain West Scholar athlete, degree there in human services. Coaches say unmatched leadership, determination, makes his teammates want to work harder for him, and he's a special teams guru. Like I mentioned, Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Year. 4 block punts last season. To me, that stands out to me the most from this class. In this new age of college athletics, where these guys pick up their ball and go someplace else because they're not getting any playing time, the fact that, they have 11 guys, right?
11 picks, yeah.
So the fact that 8 of those 11 guys stayed at their school the whole time, that's massive. I think it goes a lot into the character of those kids, and then the majority of the guys that they selected, A, didn't transfer, didn't go, I'm going to go in the portal because I'm not playing, and the majority of these guys captains. Look how many team captains they drafted.
Do you think you should mention all of the above to Jimmy Rogers over there at Washington State?
All of the above to Jimmy Rogers.
And then bring this up to his players in team meetings. Look, if you hang around here at Washington State, you don't have to leave. You're still going to be drafted by the NFL.
Yes.
You'll get your money eventually.
I mean, look at all of them.
Look at Gray Zabel. It worked out for him.
Of course it did. Even Worry worked out for him. Could have left. Arroyo could have left. I mean, Milroe. I mean, all these guys could have left.
Yeah. No, I mentioned Damian Martinez just because I remember him there in Corvallis and what an unstoppable running back he was. And then, I didn't watch him that much at Miami. I'm just shocked, really, that he lasted to the 7th round. That kid that we saw in Corvallis, he looked like a first or a second rounder. And the yards after contact,
70.
If I'm Zach Charbonnet, I'm looking at Damian Martinez going, Jesus Christ, I got to get going here. This kid's going to take my job.
It's the other. No, it's not him. It's the other one.
Oh, the other one?
It's Ken Walker. Ken Walker is going to be here for 1 year, and then they're going to say goodbye to him unless they sign him to a deal.
Yeah, he might not be the style. It's not the style that McDonald's looking for. I don't.
We'll see. I mean, just because Dugar, you can ask Dugar about this because Mike and I had this conversation last week leading up to the draft. Would they trade him? And Mike brought up a good point. He said, "No, I don't think they're going to trade him. I just think they're going to run him into the ground this year, and then say goodbye to him." So, because he's like, who cares if you lose him?
I'm torn on Walker. I've always been torn on Walker. I like him. I know he can hit a home run every time he touches the ball, but God, there's just times, where he just doesn't seem. They want more of a north-south guy, it appears. I mean, with that smash-mouth physical football brand that they want to play.
It's thievery. It is thievery to get Damian Martinez in the 7th round. Thievery.
I think so too. Unless he fell off at Miami this year, and I wasn't.
No, he led the team in rushing. He was there. He led the team in rushing. He doesn't have this great breakaway speed. When you watch him play, and I know we hate these comparisons, but we do it, right? It's why we compare Eamon Worry to Cam Chancellor, because he looks like Cam Chancellor. He's the same size, and you read the description of the kid, and you're like, that's Cam Chancellor. Watch Damian Martinez play. And if he does not remind you of Marshawn Lynch, then you don't remember Marshawn Lynch. It's the same running back.
No, that's to me, that's their best pick. And then, like everybody else, I love Milroe, the pick of Milroe. I mean, so what I was thinking about putting a Twitter poll out. When will he be the starter? I mean, do you think it'll be game 1 this year, game 8 this year, game 1 next year, game 1 2 years from now?
I'll be honest. I think a couple of years. I think you're going to get a couple of years out of it. I think my guess is you get 2 years out of Darnold.
Okay. All right. I'd take the under on that.
Okay.
And if I'm Sam Darnold, I did not like the comment of, excuse me, 90% of the snaps? That's what I'm going to be taking this year? And he'll say all the things right publicly, like when they talk to Sam and Dugar and everybody else, like, hey, what'd you think about McDonald saying 90%? I mean, you signed a pretty big contract that suggests that you should be playing 100% of the time out there. What do you think of that? Oh, well, if Jalen comes in, and he gives us a little bit of a spark or whatever. I don't know. I just thought that was odd. I thought that was an odd one.
Hey.
I understand where McDonald's going. Yeah, nice little change up like the Huskies did with Damon Williams and all that shit. But, if I'm Sam Darnold, I'm going, huh? What?
Don't you like, though, dangling that carrot still for Sam Darnold just a little bit? You still have something to prove.
I do, but if I'm Sam, I don't like it.
Hey, I agree with Robert. I smell a bet here. I smell another starting quarterback bet.
Hey, maybe so. I got money to burn right now.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how you can't like the Jalen Milroe draft. It's everything.
As soon as Darnold has a game like he had against the Rams in the playoffs, there's going to be calls for Milroe already.
Well, fans are always like that. I mean, but so I don't think it's you.
Well, we're fans, and we're going to be doing it too.
I don't think maybe, but I don't think I'll be there yet with him. He's just everything that you look at him, 6'2", 200. Well, I don't know how big. 6'2". What is he? 216, 20 pounds. Again, another 2-time captain. Big arm. Accuracy is the issue. I'd like to go back. I should have done this right now. I'd like to go back what people wrote about Josh Allen when he came out. Now, Josh Allen was a first-round pick, but I remember watching Josh Allen at Wyoming, and specifically one game, probably like a lot of people watched him at Oregon.
He wasn't good against Oregon.
No, he completed like 30% of his passes, and his completion percentage in college was awful. Awful. And I wonder if there was the same things written about him in college. Hey, is accuracy going to be an issue with him? But he has this big howitzer arm, and he did. And you look at Milroe, you look at his arm. I mean, he had 16 passing touchdowns last year that averaged 37 yards. I mean, that's a big time arm. And his quote to reporters was the best quote I've ever heard ever in the draft. When he was asked what was the question? Well, something about how would you rate yourself among the other quarterbacks, or what would you say to the teams that passed on you? And he said, "What, belt to ass?"
Yeah, yeah. That's a different version of chip on the shoulder. And I'll show them once I get my opportunity.
Did you ever get spanked with a belt, Jim?
What's that?
Did you ever get hit with a belt? Did your dad ever take the belt?
No, my dad had a paddle though. Called it a stick, and it was up above the refrigerator. And yeah, I got in a fight with Gary Sign at the bus stop once. And back in those days, you got paddled by the vice principal, and then you got it when you got home too. And now that would be called child abuse, and you'd be sent to jail probably.
Probably. Well, I went to a Catholic school early on, and we got hit by the nuns. They took
did you?
Yeah, they took great pleasure in that.
Yeah. Well, you can't get away with that now, but no, Milroe can go one of two ways, right? I mean, he's going to be the next Lamar Jackson. Maybe he'll be the next Jalen Hurts, or maybe he'll be the next Jake Locker, because trying to get a guy who hasn't been all that accurate in college to be more accurate at the NFL level, where the windows are tighter, Puck. You know, when they're playing those underneath zones, the windows are tighter.
This is like having but
like the cornerbacks are better in the NFL than they are in college, and so why would you expect a guy who is not accurate against so-so corners in college to suddenly be better against guys that are quicker to the ball in the NFL? That's kind of crazy to think that, but maybe Milroe will be the exception.
Hey, Hugh Millen, are you
like Hugh Millen? I'm so impressed with myself.
Are you listening, Hugh? I know you're watching right now. He's killing it. All right, let's get an actual expert on the draft. All right, this guy. You want to talk about hard worker? You want to talk about a guy that was from day one, starting on Thursday, was at the VMAC, writing stories, recaps, interviews. He's doing his own podcast every day. This guy, and then he even agreed to come on today to double dip this week. Ladies and gentlemen, from The Athletic, it's our good friend, Michael-Shawn Dugar, who I don't think, Jim, have you talked to Dugar lately? When's the last time you talked to Dugar?
No, I haven't. Michael-Shawn, you're doing a terrific job, though, man. You're doing a great
job. Thanks, Jim. Good to see you.
God, I can't imagine being an NFL beat writer and everything you got to do, especially being a new dad. Good job, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Let's start first of all, your overall thoughts on what the Seahawks did here this weekend.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. They got some players that I think can help right away, which is always nice. You know, that's not guaranteed. No matter how many picks you have, just contributing in the NFL is just hard. You know, sometimes, and this is out of the rookie's control. Sometimes their mere presence lights a fire under their teammates. You know, and keeps them from getting on the field. It's like, oh, they took a D lineman. Damn. Well, I'm gonna turn up. You know, you got the veteran ahead of them working just that much harder because they drafted you. You know. It's an interesting dynamic there, but I do think they have some guys that'll help right away. Obviously, the fullback should help right away. I think Gray Zabel will help right away. Arroyo has a chance to. We'll see there, but yeah, I think they got a few guys who, if nothing else, can help the team right now. And you always want to have a class where, this is why first round picks are so important. Guys with some high ceilings, you know. That was what's so exciting about Jackson Smith and Jigba in his year, Spoon, Charles Cross, like these first round guys. It's like, okay, you're not just going to help now, but you could be that dude, you know, eventually because you have insert trait here. And I think they got that with Nick Emanwari. I think he's a real high ceiling guy. And Jalen Milroe, who you guys were just talking about, like the best version of Jalen is a very, very, very good quarterback.
I've never seen anything like this with the report cards that everyone nationally is given to the Seahawks. Mel Kiper an A, Rob Rang an A, Chad Ryder from NFL.com an A. Everybody given the Seahawks A's, just universally impressed with what they did. Is it justified?
I mean, time will tell on the grades. I do think now we're in a space where like there is legitimately a Twitter account dedicated to pulling people's wrong takes and reposting them to laugh at them. Like, so I think that's kind of where you get the world in which you'd rather be more complimentary up front than to call a class garbage. And then, a year or two later, people are making fun of you. I did a story on one of the guys who gave the Seahawks an F in that 2012 class. And he, when I was talking to him, he was like an intern at Bleacher Report at the time. I think he covers wrestling now. But when I did talk to him for the story, he was like, yeah, man, for a while there, every time Russ had a good game, people would find me, tweet me just incessantly, just over and over and over again. And so think how awful that must have been for like 3-4 years, because Russ was killing it all the time in the playoffs on prime time. He's like I say, he doesn't even cover football anymore. So I think that's part of the love there. It's just better to just be more complimentary. And also, we have so much draft info these days that there are more prospects I think that people like. So there's a greater chance that the team A took player X that I liked, because I liked 100 guys. So there's a chance that they took, at least a handful of them. And I think the last thing is the Seahawks didn't, everyone has these consensus boards now. And the Seahawks are starting to follow that a little cleaner, as opposed to before. LJ Collier, massive reach, quote unquote, on the consensus boards. Jordan Brooks, Rashad Penny. Like, these are guys who had 3rd round, 4th round grades, and they were going to the 1st round. So it was much easier to dunk on the Seahawks in that way. And now their picks align a lot more with the quote unquote consensus, which leads to more favorable grades.
It just seems, just to piggyback off of Jim there, Mike, it just seemed that every one of their picks just, for the first time, like it all made sense. It started with Zabel, Eamon Wari, to get a guy as capable, when you start looking at just the measurables, the size, the things written about him, it's just, the one quote from one coach that I think was in The Beast that Dane Brugler wrote said he'd be competing in the UFC if it not for football. I mean, just how he just loves contact. He loves to mix it up. To Milroe, it just, I mean, even to go to the 7th round pick, that might be our favorite pick, Gemini's favorite pick, and Damian Martinez. I mean, we used the word earlier. It was thievery to get Damian Martinez in the 7th round. I mean, I know how people view running backs right now, but it just seemed like all of it made sense. And when I look at this class of the 11 guys, I want to say, is it 7 or 8 of them were team captains?
A lot of captains, yeah.
And then the fact that I think 8 of the 11 stayed at school at their first school, never transferred. I in this day and age of how so many people are leaving now, I think that has a lot to do with the character, maybe the work ethic of this class.
I think it has a lot to do with how John Schneider perceives it, for sure. I try not to assign too much nobility to transferring or not, just because like I was broke in college, and so I don't want to look at like. And when I was at Wazoo, there was like guys stealing from the grocery store. Not just, there was guys who were stealing like tequila, but I remember one guy stole like groceries from Dismore's, like eggs and corn dogs. You know what I mean? So like that's not a bad kid. It's a broke, hungry kid. So you got kids like that. You offer me $200,000 to go to Purdue, I'm probably just going to go, right? And I think there's nothing wrong with that. However, I bring up John Schneider's view because he is kind of more of the traditional, oh, you stayed, so you're loyal, and he did take some guys like that. Torrey Horton, I think, is a guy who could have transferred and bounced, if I believe, stayed at Colorado State for a long time. Gray Zabel could have got probably up to, he said he turned down 6 figures. He probably could have got like 7 figures to go to like Michigan or at some point or something like that, Iowa. To play there. So yeah, I think the character part played a role for sure. A lot of team captains, a lot of guys who went to the Senior Bowl. That's also a big variable for John Schneider. A lot of these, Arroyo was a Senior Bowl guy. Gray Zabel was a Senior Bowl guy. A couple other Senior Bowl guys in there. So I think that's part of it as well. There's also just not a ton of red flags across the board. It's not like the Bruce Irvins or Frank Clark, Kristen Michael, like some of these guys, Malik McDowell, who on there in the negatives part, it's not anything physical. It's like, oh, you got arrested, or oh, this coach has an anonymous quote that says you don't work hard, or it's eaten. There's no medical red flags, I don't think, outside of maybe Riley Mills, who just tore his ACL in December. So I think that's another reason why the class just seems like it makes sense, because you're not like, oh, well, if this guy just isn't an asshole like he was in college, he'll be great. Or if this guy's leg doesn't fall off like it did in college, he'll be great. There's just a lot more positives than negatives. So I think a lot of the picks made sense. Where they took certain players at what rounds made sense. Like you guys love Damian Martinez. If they'd have took him in the second round, probably wouldn't, right? We're like, why we get him so high if they had traded up to take him at 35? Get him at 37, you love it. So I think their value was right with pretty much every guy. And then if Jalen Milroe hits, it's arguably the best value pick in the entire class, not just Seattle's class.
Hey, were you guys in the media surprised when the comment was made about the 90% that Sam Darnold was going to take 90% of the snaps and that Milroe would be coming in as a change of pace guy? And on top of that, too, Michael-Shawn, when do you think Milroe is going to be the starter? I'm jumping way ahead of things here. Puck thinks it's going to be in 2 years. I think it might be sometime this year or game one next year.
I don't think that's jumping too far ahead at all. I mean, shameless plug. I just wrote a book on the Seahawks called The Franchise Seattle Seahawks, out August 12th. But in the Russell Wilson chapter, I got some people who were talking about how they had those discussions. They're like, when is Russ going to start? I think Russ was picked 75, so right around the Milroe range. It was like, when is he going to start? 2 years, 1 year, and then as Russ performed, it changed. Like after rookie camp, it was like, oh man, he might take Matt Flynn's job in a couple of years. By the start of training camp, it was like, Matt might only start for a year. And then after like a couple preseason games, maybe even the first preseason game against Denver, it was, oh no, Russ he's gonna take his job like tomorrow. So it progressed, and I'm sure there are people in the building having those same discussions that you're talking about. So I don't think it's too early. My guess would be probably a couple of years. That would be my thought. But to your first question, Jim, I was surprised about the 90% thing only because Mike Macdonald also said he's not Taysom Hill, which is basically what you would reserve that 10% for, is a Taysom Hill type of guy. Mike said pretty definitively he's a quarterback. We're going to train him as a quarterback. He's not this fullback hybrid tight end thing. So that was weird. I'm like, where's the 10% going to come from? But then I looked at what San Francisco just did with Trey Lance. Remember, they were throwing Trey Lance in there with Jimmy G, goal line, certain packages. We just watched Justin Fields do that with Russell Wilson. Justin Fields had these little packages he'd come in on, situational, short yardage, things like that. I think, reading into it, that is what they're thinking, like a Justin Fields, Trey Lance. I think that's a terrible idea, but that seems like the way they're going to go about it. And I think that's part of one of those things where the scouting department will be so upset if you just shelf this guy for 2 years and just don't let him touch the field, because he is that explosive and that talented.
Here's my theory on this is I think they are going to use him like Taysom Hill, but they don't want to say it publicly because I think that Milroe doesn't want to be looked at as a Taysom Hill. He wants to be looked at as a quarterback. So I think they say that publicly. So and I do believe he's going to be a quarterback, but initially they're going to use him like that. Because that's what he's best at right now.
Probably, yeah. And like I said, I think you're probably right. I think he's going to come in. He's going to run some wildcat stuff, QB powers, stuff we've seen Taysom Hill do. Probably won't be blocking punts or whatever like Taysom was doing. Probably won't catch passes. Taysom was running routes, so he probably won't do stuff like that. But yeah, probably wildcat-y, gadgety. And I don't think you're right, Puck. I think that's probably part of the initial messaging, although Mike Macdonald tends not to lie. So if he feels that way, then he feels that way. But what he says and what they implement can grow. But also, I mean, what they say, Jalen's not going to like that. Jalen's a quarterback, just like Justin Fields is a quarterback. That's why when Aaron Glenn, the coach of the Jets now, picked him up, they were like, we're going to let Justin Fields play quarterback. That's been part of his messaging this offseason because he knows Pittsburgh was not. They had him running the gadget stuff, and he's not that. Just like Jalen's not that. Now Trey Lance might have been that. So I don't know how he felt about it, but I just don't think that's a good idea. However, I do agree that is probably how they're going to use him, gadget guy, not necessarily a quarterback. Because if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. Yeah. And Mike Macdonald and Clint Kubiak are going to figure that out after like one preseason game of trying whatever they're going to cook up.
Jim, can you guess who Mike's favorite player is in the draft? I know who it is. Can you guess who it is, Jim?
The favorite player?
He's got one. It's obvious.
Robbie Oots.
You nailed it. That's his favorite player. Yes, that's his favorite player.
I love Oots, man. I the more I watch football, the more I watch football and talk to football players, it's so apparent that we are starting to, with the advent of analytics and numbers, is underestimate the physical part of the game. That's it. It's super physical, and that's always gonna win. And that's what Pete was trying to say over the years, and he wasn't saying it right. And I understand that he probably didn't care whether he was saying it right because he just thought, well, I am right, and the results will speak for themselves, which is fine when you've been coaching for 40, 50 years. You give yourself the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, that's what he was trying to say. Football is about hitting the hell out of the guy across from you. And I need guys who want to do that, who are willing to do that, and don't care if that is their only job. And you need guys like that. It's very similar to an old school basketball team where, like, yeah, these three dudes are our scorers, but these other two guys are here for the hard fouls and the rebounds and the whatever, the intimidation factor. Now we got all five guys just shoot threes. That's different. We need some guys who just want to just knock the snot out of the guy across from them. And even though I am an analytics nerd, I love EPA and all these advanced stats. Like, the more I just talk to the guys playing the game, I value their opinion more than anything. Like, football hurts. You hurt the other guys, you got a better chance of beating them. That will never change, whether it's in the dome, it's in September, it's in the sun, it's in the rain, whatever, the snow. That will always matter.
Well, yeah, I just like what he had to say too, Michael-Shawn. I mean, he's 6'4", 270 pounds, and he said that he just likes to make the blocks that let the other guys score, his teammates. So that's a cool part of him too.
Yeah, I love that answer. He also probably doesn't have a choice. I mean, no one's throwing him goal balls, when you are a 6'4", 275-pound fullback. If his answer was, I love to score, Clint Kubiak would be like, well, that's cute. Go in here and fill this gap. But yeah, that he has the attitude, and a lot of linemen do. A lot of the good linemen have that attitude. It's like, I'm here to just be violent. I'm never gonna touch the ball. People aren't probably going to be wearing my jersey unless they're my family, but that's okay because my job is to make a way for insert running back here. You guys were around the team when Marshawn was on the squad. That was how they felt about him. And that wasn't just linemen. That was everybody. The receivers took pride in blocking for Marshawn. The tight ends took pride in blocking for Marshawn. I remember one time, I think it was Ricardo. It was Ricardo or Doug. They missed a block in a game and they text Marshawn an apology. Like, yo, man, I'm sorry, man. I missed that block. I forget what Marshawn said back, but the idea that I'm going to text him because I just whiffed on a block and I'm a receiver, that's the love they had for doing the dirty work. And I think that's where I think football, we're going to circle back to that now with more teams using the fullback and stuff like that, because that helps you establish that type of identity.
Mike, great stuff. Tell everybody what you got up there at The Athletic right now, just all your draft coverage, also the Man-to-Man, Seahawks Man-to-Man podcast, you and Chris Kidd. And then one more time, plug the book when it's coming out.
I'll start with the book, The Franchise, Seattle Seahawks, A Curated History of the Legion of Boom Era. That comes out August 12th. Pre-orders are available now wherever you get your books, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. I'm partnering with Triumph Books is the publisher. We have our own link there. You can go to my Twitter, at Mike Dugar. The link's there. It's pinned to the top of my page. But again, wherever you get books, you can go ahead and pre-order that. We just released our most recent Seahawks Man-to-Man podcast episode. Damn near 2-hour show. I didn't realize until we were done. Just diving into all the prospects. We went deep on the Jalen Milroe thing. I'm lukewarm on it, but the best version of it, like I said, is like an amazing player. So I like the dice roll there. Had to talk myself into the Eamon Warrior pick, but I'm starting to like it a little bit more and more as I watch some film on him, listen to him as a player. So that's up now wherever you get podcasts. I have my own breakdown of the draft up on The Athletic now as well. And we're doing another show later this week. I'm talking to one of our experts recapping the class. So we're real busy week. Content galore.
Yeah, hey, congratulations on the book, man. I mean, that's fantastic. I don't know how you had the time to do it, but well done.
A lot of coffee. Shout out to my parents for getting me a Keurig for Christmas last year. That was other than giving birth, that's up there. That and my whatever parent loan they took out for me to go to Wazoo. That's probably how I had to rank the gifts they've given to me: birth, the loan, and the Keurig. That got me through. So thanks, Jim.
You're the best, Mike. I'll tell Jim about your story about your pops when we.
Oh yes. Oh, he'll love that. Yes, please do.
Right.
Please do.
All right. See you, Mike.
All right, guys. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs. So he tells me this last week that his dad is super into sports gambling. Okay, but did he just injure himself? So he has to go and or take his bets or his winnings up to the Muckleshoot. His dad goes, well, he noticed that when he went to his house, he had a bunch of those Muckleshoot water bottles, all around his house. He's like, what are you doing? He goes, I just go to the Muckleshoots every day to place wagers on games.
That's awesome. I wonder if he asked his son for inside information.
I don't think Dugar. I don't think Mike can give any inside information. Yeah, Robbie Oots, 6'3", 274. Here's a quote from Dane Brugler in his write-up on Robbie, their new fullback. He said, quote, takes pride in laying out his body on every play and finishes his blocks by whatever means necessary. Throwback player with a gladiator mentality. Oh, my God. That's football pornography, man.
Oh, God. Well, you love that, too. You've always loved fullbacks. And you love Jimmy Rogers. We're going to run the ball. Coleman this year. You love all of it. So you're going to love the Seahawks offense this year, too.
I love a fullback. I love being – I played fullback. Well, in Pee Wee days, everything. John L. Williams, one of my favorite players. He's not like a big blocking fullback, but this guy is just a battering ram. Line him up and just have him take someone's head off. I can't wait.
He might be a fantasy football guy to take a look at, too. I mean, you've got 6'4", 270. You're going to stop him from 1 yard out? I don't think so.
Come on, goal line packages. Just let your think for a sec. Goal line packages. You got Milroe under center. You got Oots at fullback and Damian Martinez. Good God.
Forget about Walker and Charbonnet.
Yeah, F Walker and Charbonnet. Yeah, I don't want them on the team. Just give me Milroe. But I understand what they said publicly about Milroe. To me, I think it's more about trying to make sure that Milroe understands that they view him just as a quarterback. And I do believe. I think they view him as a guy they can work on here in the next year or two and then eventually hopefully be a starting quarterback. But initially, he's going to be Taysom Hill. That's how they're going to use him. Guarantee it.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, Puck. I sure hope that works out, though. I think Michael-Shawn's right. I think a lot of people are. They could really hit a home run with this kid. And why not in the third round? And it's going to be fun to watch that development.
If he doesn't
the person who's not going to like to watch the development is Sam Darnold. Everybody else is going to really enjoy it.
I don't think maybe I'm wrong. I don't think Sam Darnold's going to get all that upset because I think he's going to be used in like red zone situations. Maybe. I mean, you're probably right. But to a degree, no player, especially a quarterback, likes to be taken off the field.
Well, yeah, and what you're laying out there, do you want to come out of the game in the red zone?
I don't know Sam Darnold. To me, Sam Darnold, what I've witnessed of him, he really comes off as I'm just want to win team guy. Like, do you remember that game in which they had the video in the locker room and all the team was waiting there for him, and then he had a big game and he comes walking in, and the players just go nuts in Minnesota and they're dumping water on him. They're putting him up on their shoulders and they're like crowd surfing him around. Like, the word out of Minnesota is just how beloved he was inside that organization, those players. So I think for Sam Darnold, where he's been, high draft pick, bust to this reclamation that he's had, I think he's just happy to be where he's at and have another chance. And if this guy can come in and help the football team, I don't think there's going to be any drama. But
God, maybe you're right about that, Puck. But I mean, so Minnesota sets a record for wins with Sam Darnold as their quarterback, and they didn't want him back. For me, if I'm him and they pick Milroe like they did, I'm just going, God, can't I ever just be the guy without having to look over my shoulder? I guess that's just the way it is in the NFL and professional sports and in life. But I don't know. I just thought it was kind of a. But I also, if they had drafted Milroe, fine. But they shouldn't have said the 90% thing. I don't think. But whatever.
I don't know how much
I'm
he's going to
probably
be
making too big a deal out of something that doesn't really mean anything.
I just think that you draft someone like this that you have a vision of in a couple of years, but in the meantime, no, there are very few teams, minus maybe the Eagles, the Ravens, that have this weapon, and the Saints to a degree with Hill, that have this weapon. I mean, they have got a weapon on their hands.
What if Milroe? What if he's crazy good in the preseason and Darnold's just so-so? Do you just go, if you're Macdonald, you go, well, Jalen did it against the second and third stringers, and Sam had to face the first stringers in the first half. That's why I've always felt like with the backup anytime there's a quarterback competition, you should give the supposed backup some time in the first half in the preseason so you can get around that, where you don't have to talk about, well, you just did it against the backups. It's going to be – this preseason is really going to be interesting.
Yeah, I don't want to say never, because we sat there and already seen this happen. We watched it with Matt Flynn and Russell Wilson. That you thought Matt Flynn was going to be the starter, and everyone assumed he was going to be the starter. You paid him the money to be the starter, and then along comes Russell Wilson, and he blows him away. I would probably say that Russell Wilson was more in a position to do that back then, just because he had been a 3-year starter at NC State. He had been a captain. He was a starter at Wisconsin after he transferred. The accuracy issues weren't a thing for him. The only knock on Russell Wilson was his height.
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe has two things that a lot of NFL analysts will tell you. These are things you can't learn at the next level. Or accuracy and throwing on time. Like that you don't tend to get better at that. This was why Locker ended up not working out, because he could not throw with anticipation and he wasn't accurate. He was a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, remember the windows are tighter in the NFL, Puck. There was an analyst on your show that said that earlier.
Windows are tighter, yes. I love the class. I love the fact that Gray Zabel, was on the conference call and he's like, listen, I'm about to tear into these Busch Lights. Just all of it. I just think it's a phenomenal draft class. Excited to see what happens with it, but I think they did a great job. Hey, a couple of housekeeping notes before you go. Have you seen the Belichick CBS Sunday morning interview yet?
I did see it.
The clips, or did you watch the whole thing? I watched the tradition in my house. Yes, I'm old. I've always been an old man. I did this even in my 30s. I watched CBS Sunday morning. Okay. It's one of my favorite shows. It is the most awkward interview you will ever watch. Ever.
I just saw the 1.5-minute outtake.
Oh, you got to watch the whole thing. No,
first of all, over there telling him not to entertain any of those questions about the relationship.
Girlfriend is stepping in left and right. Oh,
the guy's like 68 and he's got his 24-year-old girlfriend telling him what to do.
He can't answer. I mean, and they thought this was going to be some feel-good story about his book coming up. And the reporting, good for the reporter, I'm blanking on his name. He presses him hard on Robert Kraft. Why didn't you mention Robert? He doesn't mention Robert Kraft in his book at all. No, nowhere. He's like, why? And he just wouldn't go into it, but he kept pressing him on it. And yeah, the girlfriend, I'm telling you, oh my God, just she's a psychopath. This one is just it's not good. So go watch that one. Here's my other thing real quick for you that I'm and I have it on the rundown, retired numbers. I'm kind of done with this retired number thing. First of all, who the F is Abdul Carter to go and ask the greatest, and I mean greatest defensive player in the history of the game, maybe Reggie White's got an argument here too, Lawrence Taylor, hey, can I wear your number? Are you kidding me? No rookie. He's asking Lawrence Taylor if I can wear your number. And God bless Lawrence Taylor. No.
He did say no?
Yeah, I believe so. Oh, no, I don't want to be.
Good. I'm glad he said
I think he did say no. I think he said no. You need to carve out your own legacy.
I'm glad he said no. You see, Warren Moon said it was okay for Cam Ward to wear number one. Well, one thing about that, you were an Oiler and you weren't a Titan.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand about it. First of all, You didn't play for the Tennessee Titans. You played for the Houston Oilers, who are now the Tennessee Titans. This is like the Oklahoma City Thunder retiring 20, and then Gary Payton's like, oh, yeah, and someone wants to wear 20 for the Thunder, and he says, yeah, you can wear it. You never played for them. So Warren Moon's kind of an idiot on this one. You didn't play for the Titans. So why is your number one retired by the Titans? It's retired by the Houston Oilers. So Ward should never have had to ask any permission to wear that. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
No, I'm with you on that. If a number's retired, and even if I want to wear that, I'm not asking that person.
No,
I'll find a different number. I'll be okay. God.
Abdul, can you imagine? Hey, Mr. Taylor. Yeah, this is Abdul Carter. Taylor's like, who? Yeah, I just got drafted. I'm a rookie. I'd like to wear your 56, son. I'm snorting about 8 pounds of coke off some stripper's ass right now. No, you can't have it. Okay, I know you. I know. Go ahead.
You're projected to be really good if you're Abdul Carter, but he might be a bust. Who knows?
Yeah, it's stupid. All right, I know you got to go. Good luck with the PT.
Okay, thanks, Puck. See you, man.
See you. Go Cougs. Yeah, go Cougs. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Moore. He is brought to you by A Clean Streak. The Clean Streak there. And Brian Turner, a good friend, Brian Turner, bringing you Jim Moore every single week. Big thanks to Michael-Shawn Dugar there as well, joining us throughout the program. Yeah, I don't get the retired number thing. I just – the Moon one makes no sense because he never played for the Titans ever. So if I'm Warren Moon, I'm like, hey, man, glad – why did you give your permission for the Titans to retire your number? I don't get that. And then, I think secondly, I mean, you played for the Oilers. And then on the one with Abdul Carter, you don't ask the greatest defensive player in the history of the game if he can wear his jersey. You just don't. You don't do it. And for those who did not watch the Bill Belichick interview, oh, go do yourselves a favor. Go do yourselves a favor and watch the full interview of Bill Belichick sitting down with Tony something. What's his last name? Tony something. CBS Sunday Morning. And he thinks he's walking into some field. And I do believe it was a feel-good story about his book. That was the intent of it. But he also was like, hey, I'm kind of curious why you didn't mention Robert Kraft. And then that's where things went downhill. Once he started diving, it was like kind of fun. Belichick's kind of going back and forth. He's wearing that ratty sweatshirt, navy sweatshirt that he always wears his dad's. So he looks awful. And he thinks it's going great. He's kind of laughing a little bit. And once he gets into the book, he's like, oh, we're going to talk about the book. Oh, we're going to talk about, coaching and all the lessons I've learned. And then it gets into, well, why didn't you mention Robert Kraft anywhere? And he went right into Belichick, Patriots, after a game, coach mode. I don't know. Just didn't mention him. This book's really just about me. And it was one word. He went from smile to frown. And then they went into the girlfriend. He's asking, the reporter's asking him about, all you're active on social media now and Instagram. I'm not really part of that. I just have an account. He's like, yeah, but it's just a different side of you. You're doing yoga on the beach, kicking your girlfriend up in the air. What's happened to you? And he's like, I don't know anything about that. And then he asked some innocent question about, which you've probably seen that clip. Hey, how'd you guys meet? He's not answering that. We're not talking about this. Oh, man. And this is on the heels of apparently she is running ship, and assistant coaches and personnel people at North Carolina are sick of her already. It's just a train wreck. Absolute train wreck. One other quick note before we get to Hey, What the Puck and wrap up the show today here. Just a shortened show here on a Friday. Boy, does the NBA, I'm not really big into the NBA conspiracy theory stuff about how they rigged drafts and lotteries for teams and in cities and all that. I don't really buy into all that stuff, but I'm going to tell you right now, more and more as things develop, I don't know how you look at what transpired yesterday in the Eastern Conference between the Pistons and the Knicks, in case you if you don't know what happened, and think to yourself, is the NBA just trying to get the Knicks to advance in the playoffs? If you've seen the highlight of Tim Hardaway Jr., he's got a potentially game-winning 3 that he shoots. He is hammered, and I mean hammered by Josh Hart. And this is in Detroit. Hammered by him. Should have been everybody in the building. This is with like 0.3 or 0.4 seconds left. Everybody in the building is waiting for a foul to be called. Everyone. And even the Knicks are. They don't call it. And they're down by 1. Or the Knicks end up winning by 1. They don't call it, nothing. Then, after the game, so he's got 3 free throws. Tim Hardaway makes 2. They win the game. Tim Hardaway, or the officials say after the game, hey, we screwed up. We missed it. There should have been a foul called. After the fact. And I don't know if that's supposed to make the Pistons or anybody else feel better, but can you imagine that? Here's a game in which you win that game. Now, all of a sudden, the series is tied at 2 games apiece. But now the Knicks have taken a commanding 3-1 series lead, and they head back to New York to clinch it up. So for you conspiracy people out there about the NBA wanting big market teams and teams like New York and the Knicks to advance, I can't say that you have more added fuel to your fire, because that certainly looked to be the case yesterday. Another housekeeping note, another edition of Graz and Gas Take 5 coming out later today. Once that is up, we'll send that out, and it'll be up probably later this afternoon, just like the Sports Pit with Steve Sandmeyer and Matt Stretch Johnson. That new episode 6 of the Sports Pit, coming out later today. We never got into the Logan Gilbert stuff. Grade 1 flexor strain. I guess it could have been worse, but he's going to be sidelined until June. Logan Evans took his spot in the rotation, and Logan Evans looked good, very good yesterday. 5 innings, 2 earned runs, but fingers crossed there for Logan Gilbert, and hopefully he gets back to a speedy recovery and that it's not anything more serious. But you're not going to throw for a couple of weeks. I hope it calms down. Sounds like it was already calming down there before he had that MRI, or at least after the MRI. So, again, hopefully he's going to be okay. The other notes just here on the NFL draft here for the Seahawks, and I mentioned this before with Jim, a little bit with Dugar. What stood out to me, you have a number of players. It's almost, I think it's 7 players, maybe 8 players that were team captains that they drafted this weekend. And to me, the theme was not only athleticism, because these guys are off the charts athletically, but it's leadership, and it is accountability, and it's sportsmanship and being great teammates. That's what stands out to me about this class that the Seahawks signed. And you start reading a bunch of stuff on their backgrounds, how they were brought up, their family life. This has a chance. I don't almost want to get too excited and too giddy about this class, but I think it's got the real potential, because they could all fail, right? They all could not work out. It's got the real potential that you look back how many years down the road, and let's say Macdonald and Schneider are once again, hoisting a Lombardi trophy, as just an absolute game changer of a draft and how good this was. And it started with the selection of Zabel there in the first round, which again was just a no-brainer, like it felt to all of us, because they needed to improve the offensive line, because that's what it was. Got to improve the offensive line. And they get a guy, not only just a guy that improves the offensive line, it's that stereotype of alignment. He just has it all. There's the look, there's the sense of humor, there's the leadership qualities. I think you go back to a guy, how he was raised. He was small town, farm. He's going to own a farm again there. The fact that he was so highly coveted going into his final year of college football. Think about the amount of money that was thrown at him to transfer, to leave his hometown, to leave his home state, to go someplace else. He wants life after football. Somebody gives him 6 figures, maybe close to $1 million, and says, hey, come to Alabama, Georgia, wherever. Put that money away, and now you've got your farm and your family set up for life, or at least, comfortable. And he said no. Said, no, I started something here at North Dakota State, and I'm going to finish it. Again, I agree with Mike to a degree, or more than a degree, because I don't. Everyone's situation is very different. But in this day and age of where players are bouncing around from program to program to program, 8 of their 11 draft picks stayed at their said schools the whole time. I don't think that's a coincidence at all of what they drafted. I mean, their first few picks, Zabel, Imanwari, Arroyo, Milroe, and Mills. So their first 5 picks all stayed at their respective schools the entire time. You finally get to Torrey Horton, the wide receiver out of Colorado State, was their first transfer, their 5th-round pick. That's it. I don't think the same scenario of some of these other players that jump in the portal. Horton just followed his coach to a new school. He was at Nevada with Jay Norvell. Norvell gets the job at Colorado State. All these kids sign with the coaches anyway. They're not signing with the school. And he liked Jay Norvell, so he went with Jay Norvell. There, 2-time team captain. Again, this is the theme of this class. Captains, leadership, basically zero transfer portal guys, hardworking, physical. That's what stands out to me. I mean, we mentioned it before. You get Damian Martinez in the 7th round. That's just you are robbing people to get him. Robbing. That is such a damn good draft pick. And then for Milroe, as we talked about a lot there with Dugar, super talented arm strength, accuracy is an issue, consistency, being accurate with the football, but again, explosive in the passing game when he takes his shots downfield. But 16 passing touchdowns. This was a note that came out of Dane Brugler's The Beast. 16 passing touchdowns last season that averaged 37 yards per touchdown. His ability to push the ball downfield, his unique skill set, athleticism, and strength will no doubt be put on display this upcoming football season there for Clint Kubiak. There's zero doubt about that. Whether they should have said how much they're going to use him or not, he's going to be on the field. Most likely in short yardage situations, most likely they're in the red zone. It just, more than anything, what it does, and depending on how much they're going to use them, it just gives the defense and the defensive coordinator for the Seahawks' weekly opponent something else to think about. How do we defend when the Milroe package comes in? It's another thing that they got to work on leading up to the game against Seattle. And then maybe they don't work on something else. The Nick Imanwari pick, the safety out of South Carolina, they trade up in the 2nd round. They're 52nd, and then their 3rd round pick, 82nd to get to 35. You saw what the Vegas Raiders, Las Vegas did 2 picks later. They traded out. There is zero doubt in my mind that that's who the Raiders would take. Zero doubt. The fact that they moved up and took that player, I bet anything that's what Vegas was going to do. Anything that I've got, that's what Vegas was going to select him. He returned 3 of the 4 interceptions that he had last year. They were 20 yards or more for TDs this past season. I mentioned this quote before. He'd be competing in the UFC if not for football. Again, another team captain, youngest of 5 boys, been getting his ass kicked since he was in diapers by his older brothers. You want to talk about availability? Guy missed 1 game in 3 seasons. 1 game. How physical he plays. 6'3", 220 pounds. He is the same size as Cam Chancellor. Yet, ran a 4.38 40, had a 43-inch vertical leap, and the 11-foot 6-inch broad jump. This is an academic All-American. I mean, this guy's the total package. He's to date your daughter. He's everything. We mentioned, Riley Mills, athletic. The kid out of Kansas, the tackle, they're going to switch to guard. Another guy that's just athletic, who is going to be off the charts in terms of what he can do. He was a 4-year starter at Kansas. On paper, this just looks like one of the best drafts that they have ever had, ever had. And I'm just excited for it. And how much Milroe and these guys contribute this year, 2 years from now. I mean, this is how it gets even better. And Jim alluded to this. In 2 years from now, if Jalen Milroe is the starting quarterback and is good, this could be potentially one of the best drafts the best draft they've ever had. Ricky White in the 7th round. I don't know what he's going to contribute as a wide receiver, but this guy loves how hard it is to find football players that love playing special teams. This guy was their best wide receiver, and he was also their best special teams player. That was the Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Year. Blocked 4 punts in 2024. Coaches say unmatched leadership. Unmatched. Kudos to John Schneider and everybody over there associated there with the Seattle Seahawks. All right, let's wrap it up here on a Monday edition of the Daily Puck Drop with, ladies and gentlemen, Hey, What the Puck. It's brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. It's your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. They are locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when these damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. Now, I was not necessarily by choice. Well, I guess it was by choice because I just tended to watch that coverage over ESPN. I'm an NFL Network guy when it comes to the draft because I pledge my allegiance to Mike Garafolo. And so I watched that. I didn't ever really watch ESPN this weekend. So all the clips I've seen of Mel Kiper were just viral clips that I saw. I mean, come on. I mean, what can I add that hasn't been said already? It was, without a doubt, the most embarrassing performance from a broadcaster, maybe in television history. And it begs the question, was Mel Kiper being paid by, and I'm being 100% dead serious, was Mel Kiper on a payroll with the Sanders family? Because it went from, boy, this really surprises me, and I'm astonished and I'm a little taken aback of why he's not been selected, to he seemed genuinely bothered and angered that Shedeur Sanders wasn't selected yet. To go so far to say that people in the NFL, they don't know how to evaluate quarterbacks. It didn't take someone more than 1 hour to pull up a quote from Mel Kiper when Jimmy Clausen was coming out of Notre Dame. And Mel Kiper said, if Jimmy Clausen is not a starting elite quarterback in the NFL in the next few years, I'll retire from covering the NFL draft. Well, Jimmy Clausen was an utter, total embarrassment and bust. So it's funny that Mel Kiper, of all people, would call out the NFL and their evaluation of quarterbacks of Shedeur Sanders. It's just they didn't look at him as other people thought that he would be this elite talent. And whether it had anything to do with his father background, I don't know. None of us are in those interviews. There's plenty of stories coming out about those interviews and how poorly they went for him. And I think there's a lot of other stuff that show maybe some entitlement and some maturity issues for Shedeur Sanders. That doesn't mean he can't overcome any of this stuff and eventually become a good quarterback. And he's got plenty of ammunition now because he's got the biggest thing that helps any athlete ever. It's a chip on his shoulder. He's been doubted, been knocked down. He's not going to come in and start right away. He's going to have to prove himself. Whether this has humbled him or not, we're going to see the type of competitor and work ethic that he has, of how he embraces this new challenge in Cleveland. I'm very curious of what Cleveland did. There's a clip that they showed on TV once he was selected from Stefanski and Barry. Stefanski, the coach, and Barry, the GM. They didn't look happy in making the pick. It is begged the question that many feel that the owner stepped in and made them select Dion. I don't know why he would do that. Maybe there's a relationship between he and Dion. Who knows? It's not unheard of that you take 2 quarterbacks in a draft. I mean, Washington did it when they selected RG3, and then later they take Kirk Cousins. So it's not like Dylan Gabriel was a pick where you're like, well, we just can't take another quarterback. But it is curious that you did select two quarterbacks, and you've added two quarterbacks there in the offseason. So at least it led some people to think that maybe, just maybe, that the ownership stepped in to make them draft Shedeur Sanders. I think it was an embarrassing few days for a lot of people on television, specifically Mel Kiper. I think embarrassing for a lot of people on social media how much time we spent discussing it. I'm doing it right now, so maybe I'm part of that problem too. And then embarrassing that, you had someone, the defensive coordinator's son prank calling him. That's just, sick on so many levels. The fact that it got caught and then he got caught up in all that was just, all of it was bad. I got nothing bad to say about the guy on the field. I've been pretty adamant about Shedeur Sanders. I like him. I liked him in Colorado. Stuff off the field, he's had a few displays of immaturity, like all of us have displays of immaturity. But the player on the field, I found him to be very tough, accurate. Maybe he held on to the ball too long, but he held on to the ball too long to try and make plays. I guess sometimes I don't know how much of that is a ding on him. He's trying to make a play for his teammates. Reference games all the time. Kansas State being the one that we always talk about, how much he was getting beat on left and right. So we'll see where he goes, but the ball clearly is in his court. But there was too many people this weekend trying to get up on a platform to project something about the reason why he was not drafted or sliding that had nothing to do with Shedeur Sanders or nothing to do with the NFL, just everybody else's beliefs in what they were thinking, which was kind of ugly how all of it unfolded. All right, that's Hey What the Puck. It's brought to you by Restoration One in North Seattle. It's your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when these damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. All right. Big thanks for everybody watching and listening today. Thank you to all our sponsors, Limback Lumber, Georgetown Brewery. Go check out their new tavern beer at your local bar. And, of course, up at georgetownbeer.com. Restoration One, as always. Today's Daily Puck Drop up on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. Also, find the Daily Puck Drop on your favorite podcast platforms and, of course, up at pucksports.com. When you're there, please sign up to be a member of the Pucks Posse for just $5 a month. It supports everything we do here from the free content side, if you want that to continue. Also, you get exclusive bonus shows as well. Our baseball coverage with our MLB insider, Ryan Divish, the new Sports Pit podcast with KJR alums, Steve Sandmeyer, Matt Stretch Johnson, our NFL draft coverage leading up to the draft. And we got one more visit with Dane Brugler from The Athletic. And now we produce the Graz with Gas Take 5 podcast, where you can find on YouTube and all podcast platforms. New episodes come out later today, every Monday. You can find all of that up at pucksports.com. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Monday. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Tuesday edition of the show. Until then, as always, promise to be better.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!